कैसा?
Nothing, sir. I have a lot to be thankful for, and especially for your support. And I mean, I've reached out to you multiple times seeking different contacts, and you've always helped me out with it.
Yes, Rupal, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so congratulations, Rupal.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So you have been, quite busy, I suppose, right? A lot of people calling in, everything.
Yes, sir. Lots of social obligations, media persons, a lot of things
Yeah, person
going
also
on.
started to come, huh? That's good. Now it was start different from last time, right?
Definitely, sir. This has been great. It's like a dream come true.
So how's the parent feeling, right? How is everyone?
Everyone is just so happy. They feel like this is all they ever wanted. They feel so happy. And of course, I mean, I am very happy seeing them so proud. So it's a surreal feeling.
But I told you, last time, your interview little bit recording was off, right? So I told them, don't worry. Next year they will do, very great. But
Yes, sir, definitely. I think I mean this was meant to be. I feel like all the problems, lows that I may have faced, but I think this was written and so it has happened.
really, 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 really good. Very good. Okay. Chale, so let's just start. Now, this is something, I do every year, right? So obviously you also must have seen. So I will be asking you a series of questions, right? Since you are still the marks are not out, right? I'm but very sure that you would almost 280, 290, something like that you must be getting in the optional paper. But still. Okay. So Rupal, again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let us start with the introduction. So, Rupal, tell me first and foremost that, tell the audience about yourself first.
Sir, I come from an aspirational district, Khandwa, in Madhya Pradesh, and I did my BA LL.B honors from Symbiosis Law School, Pune. Thereafter, for almost 2 years, I have worked in Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas as an associate. And I quit my job in 2022 December or August, December around that time, to prepare for this examination. And this was my third attempt overall.
Overall. Okay, so and this is the second interview. Last year also you got due to some miscalculation, something happened. Okay, now Rupal, tell me that after you quit your job, right? You straight away came to UPSC. Now, where did you start actually with the law, right? How did you go about it? I mean, there will be. I mean, think it as a person who is in job and wants to quit and sort of start with the UPSC or in the college for that matter. So, how to approach the entire subject?
So for me, law optional was a very comfortable and obvious choice because of my work experience and my legal education. So I started off with the basic Dukkis recommended by toppers, mostly the Ashok Raj Jain Dukki I referred to for almost all the subjects. And I made sure that I read these Dukkis at least 3 times before making my own notes. And I made notes also quite detailed. So I had digital notes. I used to keep updating them as and when there were new legal developments. So I think for me, what has worked from AIR 512 to AIR 43 has been the value addition in terms of current affair related developments. I focused a lot on. So I think that has worked. And of course, I have referred to toppers copies uploaded on your website. I have referred to them to see how they write, and that little things like boxing the case laws and small stuff like that. I tried to incorporate it in my answer writing, and I made sure that I wrote full length papers of law optional before the actual exam. And last time when I scored 512, I had done all the entire test series of de facto, but this time I focused only on full length papers because a lot of times reading a lot of subjects together leads to a lot of cluttered content in your mind. So I wanted to make sure that I replicate the at home exact atmosphere. So I used to do full length test papers. So I think that was my entire strategy for law.
Yeah, I always tell also, right? Even half marks improvement per question will add up to almost 40 marks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us talk about now constitutional law, right? So apart from Dukhi, anything else you did for value addition in the constitutional law?
Sir, I think constitutional law did not, as such, require any specific books or detailed books like V.N. Shukla and all. I did focus a lot on the editorials that used to come in newspapers, often written by jurists like Gautam Bhatia and a lot of different opinions. So I used to take down case laws, even which were mentioned in the newspaper. So that is a lot of content that I've gotten related to current affairs, and of course the model, the papers, previous year papers, were acted as a model for me to kind of prepare a skeleton for the answers if that question repeated itself. So I think this entirely was the basis of my preparation.
And what about international law?
So, for international law, I already did have some good knowledge about international law because of my moot court experience. But this time, I of course started with Dukki only, and this book, I think J.N. Pandey, sir, I'm not even able to recall the name because I have not gone back to the book at all after I made my
Okay,
notes.
okay, okay.
So I think it was Jayan Pandey, and I mean I referred to the book as well as the Dukki, and prepared my notes accordingly. And of course, the model, the previous year question papers and the questions given by you in your test series, I used to focus on creating a skeleton for those answers. And of course, current developments, any advisory opinion which were latest, I used to ensure my notes have them so that I keep going back and revising those current events. And I think that replicates. It is easier to replicate in the answer.
So you made digital note, not the handwritten one.
Always digital notes, but handwritten notes I made only before the mains examination, so that before going into the examination hall I would have at least 10 pager for each subject. So that's what I did, and it was easier to revise because a lot of case laws you may skip if you don't look at them right before going into the examination hall. So I had those 10 pager notes for every subject, and really helpful, those shorthand notes that I made. Yeah.
Always right. That 10 pager is very important just for the revision just before mains. Yes, very good.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so Rupal, tell me about CLD right now. As you know, in CLD, entire topic is almost a subject in itself, right? So how did you go about it?
Sir, I did pay a lot of attention to contemporary legal developments. I mean, the general strategy is to not devote a lot of time, but I made sure that I in fact referred to an intellectual property rights law book also from my college days to make my own notes because I wanted to have that clarity in IPR. So IPR and then Arbitration Act, BEAR Acts were very important for me. I have referred to BEAR Acts multiple times, be it the RTI Act or the Arbitration Act. Then also in terms of PIL and all, I think the website notes and your notes were enough. There were a lot of de facto notes which had very crisp content. So I have referred to for media trials, for example, I have referred to your notes very well. So yeah, I think that was what I used to surf online and just type UPSC law option with the title of the subject, and I used to get better good notes from online content, so not a lot of effort went into those note making.
Okay, good. Okay, now with regard to prelims, right? Like lot of people now law have a very good success rate, right? Law optional in general, but the people, especially from law background, falter a lot in the prelims, right? So give me some insight into the prelims, how to go about it, from the law perspective. Now I have seen people, from good NLUs also failing in CSAT, right? So any insight on that?
Yes, sir. In fact, I am one of those persons who did fail
I
CSAT in my
remember,
first attempt.
I remember, yes.
Yes, yes. So in fact, I was warned even beforehand that CSAT is something you should not take lightly. But even then, I failed CSAT in my first attempt. So thereafter, from the second attempt, I focused more on the previous year questions of CSAT. I used to solve from 2013 onwards all the question papers, even again and again, if need be, so that the kind of questions that are asked, the method of solving them is set in my mind. So I did that, and I also used to refer to YouTube videos of various. There are several Study IQ and other coaching institutes providing free CSAT videos. So
Mm.
those were very helpful in the preparation. And of course, I wrote down formulas in a small notes type of format, and I used to look at them from time to time. And right before mains, I used to make sure that every Sunday I sit up with a CSAT paper and solve it fully from end to end in the required time frame. So I think that has been very helpful.
And what about the GS paper in the prelims?
Sir, GS was never a problem for me. In fact, I found GS paper to be something easily doable in all my three attempts. In fact, the strategy was that basics should be emphasized upon. I used to do multiple revisions of the same standard books, no matter how monotonous it gets. I had no notes prepared for prelims. That is one thing. Because for prelims, the content is so much that if you go to prepare notes, you will end up making another book. So I never prepared notes. So I only used to go to, for example, Lakshmikant, a very good book, but it is in note format. You cannot make notes of Lakshmikant. So I used to go again and again and read the same books. For example, Spectrum also I've read end to end multiple times. Of course, I used to highlight, underline, and keep revising those important pointers. And the importance of test series cannot be overstated. They are so important. I may have solved at least 30 test series for my
Fully.
both attempts. Yes, sir. May have, in fact. I mean, maybe a little here and there, but 30 test series for sure. Because I used to keep a note of the marks that I'm getting in each test, and it was used to give me happiness and satisfaction when I used to look at the progress from the first mock test to the last one. And in fact, every time my mock test marks has reflected in my actual prelims GS paper one. So yeah, I think mock tests are very important.
Okay, so it means that you sort of did the mock test again and again, analyze answers also sometime क्योंकि ये option नहीं होगा
Definitely.
ये option होगा वो भी, that is also
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I analyze the PYQs as well, definitely.
okay. And now Rupal, obviously we have talked earlier also with regard to interview some of the questions, but still this will go on YouTube. So what are the questions that were asked on the interviews? Some brief of.
So, sir, most this time my interview was mostly DAF related. I was asked about my home district because I come from Khandwa, which is the birthplace of Kishore Kumar. So, because chairperson sir was a fan of Kishore Kumar, so the interview began on a very lighter note. He was quite happy to see me there, and then he asked me the other members and himself. They were focusing on law, of course, because I had that background. So, the first question that chairperson asked was the AI based robotics, if we make them as judges in courts, they will give uniform judgments and reduce arbitrary decision making. So, do you think we should replace all the judges with robotic judges? And then I said, sir, I think AI is prone to hallucinations. There is a data bias and all of those pointers which we prepare for mains also. I tried to put them there. And I think what may have impacted him or influenced him was that I gave an example. I said, sir, if two different groups are accused of gang rape, so a judge who is sentencing will have to look at their motives, their antecedents, whether they have any criminal background. So all these things factors only a judge considers with a human touch. AI will not be able to do that. So that is why I think it is not a very wise choice to make AI judges replace normal judges. So I think all these, and then maintenance and divorce related questions were also asked. One of the chairperson was quite interested in knowing how much maintenance will I give to a wife whose husband earns 20,000 crores. So he was very
Recent case
insistent
of
that he
Raymond, I
wants.
think the Raymond owner case that has happened recently with regard.
Yeah, he mentioned Zoho founder
Singha.
case, in fact.
Acha, acha,
And
he was
I,
Singha.
yes,
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that case at the time, but he was just citing it as an example. He said, take the example of Zoho founder. He paid so much alimony. So now I have a case for you. 20,000 crore is the wealth of the husband. How much maintenance will you grant to his wife? And I said, sir, it depends upon a lot of factors. The wife's earning potential, whether she has custody of kids. And he was like, no, no, give me a specific number. He was very insistent. Give me a specific number. And then I said, sir, 10% of the husband's wealth.
Oh,
And then he was like, why 10%? Why not 50? And I said, sir, because the purpose of maintenance is not to punish the husband. It is to just help a reasonable amount of maintenance for the wife so she is not left destitute. So I think that impacted him. Maybe, I don't know. They don't show it on their faces, but the other members looked quite satisfied because they were nodding. So I thought maybe I gave a reasonable answer.
that's good.
So
In fact, the
yeah,
purpose
so
of
all
the
these
maintenance is
questions.
to maintain the wife in the same lifestyle as she would have been
As
before.
he was, exactly. I said that also, in fact. But maybe he didn't have a law background, so maybe he was not catching on to that, but he was more interested in knowing the quantum of compensation. Yes.
That's interesting. I really that let the mark come. I'm very sure you must have got in, upper 190, 180
Yes,
something.
it went. So last time also I had 193 marks, but this time I wanted to cross 200 because I wanted a good rank. And because I have this good rank, I feel interview must have been a major factor.
In law also, your full length this time was
Yes,
much more
yes.
better.
Yes, sir, you told me that. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Rupal. So now, sort of a generic question for the candidate who are, looking for preparations, right? A very blunt question I will ask, right? Especially with regard to people who are in the third and fourth year of their law. So should they choose law optional?
Sir, I think definitely. If a person has law background, then it practically, I think it doesn't make sense for you to go for any other optional, because law has some overlap with gs2 subjects as well. For example, polity, you will not even have to go read a lot of details if you have good hold over constitutional law, which is a subject in law optional. Even with international law, I would say a lot of overlap with international relations. You can cite ICJ judgments. You have a lot of understanding of how the United Nations organization works. So international relations has some overlap. And I think even in ethics, sir, legal understanding helps you in citing court judgments wherever necessary to point out constitutional morality. So I think that overlap is also there. In fact, I have even used essay in my law in my essays. I have profusely used quotes from judgments, which help me make a point. If there is a judgment, if there is a case, if there is an essay on free speech, I would make sure that I have case laws with beautiful lines set by some judges, which emphasize the importance of freedom of speech. So I think law as such is a optional, which is a very good choice. It first of all gives you the confidence because you have studied law in your college, and secondly, if you practice answer writing the past year papers, you will not find it difficult to score good in law optional, because a lot of questions like other optionals are repeated in law as well. All you need to do is just stay up to date with the upcoming case law, so that you just put those case law in your answer, because the questions are same. You just need to update your content. So I think that is something which is easily doable in law optional. And yeah, I think that perspective that law does not give good marks will now be shattered, I think, because we have a lot of individuals in the top 100. So yeah, I think that I rest my case.
Last year, there was only one candidate in top 100, right? Last year again, there was five candidates, right? So last year, I don't think what happened, but this year, things have become better. Okay. Now, Rupal, so last question I wanted to ask Rupal is with regard to AI, right? A lot of people simply feed in the PYQ to AI and they'll simply take the solution and simply write in the test, right? Because I could see, pivotal role, pivotal importance, right? That itself indicate it is, Chat GPT, right? So how to sort of use Chat GPT or for that matter any AI in your preparation? Have you used it or there is any better way to do it?
Sir, I will be very honest. I have not used AI, ChatGPT, for example, till the mains stage. I did not, because I have my notes prepared. I did not need to go back to AI. I have used AI for my interview preparation, sure, because there were a lot of opinions that I wanted to create, and I wanted to make sure I have all the perspectives. So I've used ChatGPT a lot for making opinions and giving balanced judgments in my interview answers. But for mains, sir, I never relied on it. In fact, I think it is a little unreliable. It makes judgments sometimes which do not even exist. So I have not relied upon
Give
AI.
beautiful quotations which is not there in the judgment, right? They-
Yes, sir.
And that is true. Okay, so I mean, you have mostly relied on the traditional part itself rather than the AIs. Okay.
Traditional. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, Rupal, obviously, this is sort of a personal question. Obviously, last year, something 512 rank you got. Now, obviously, there have been multiple ups and lows. Obviously, everyone goes through it, right? So, how to tackle it? Abil, what advice would you give to the candidates, right? Because sometimes it is a 3 4 year journey almost, right? Like this year also, I
Yes, sir.
was reading somewhere that only 7% of the people qualified in the first attempt. Most of them are third and fourth attempt, right? The maximum people. So almost if you are
Yes, sir.
qualifying in third attempt, it is almost 4 year, right? So how to tackle that?
Sir, I think I would say that treat this exam just as an exam. It is not life. So I think you should always have a life outside of the preparation. You should definitely give 100%. If you're preparing for this exam, give your 100%. But that 100% doesn't mean that it should harm your mental health. You should always make sure you surround yourself with positive minded people, so that they don't put you down. They lift you up in your low times. So I think that is something I have done. I have found a lot of other members from the aspirant community who have same mind as me, and we used to discuss, we used to prepare together, look at each other's answer copies, and understand the improvements that could have been made. So that is something I've done, and I have genuinely found that the members of the aspirant community are quite helpful. So I think you should try to form a peer group like that. But I will be honest, I did that only for the interview. For mains and prelims, I prepared on my own. I studied in my own room, and I did not interact with a lot of aspirants. But certainly your family support, and I think you should talk it out. If you feel down, if you feel that something is not working out, always talk it out. And of course, this exam is challenging, sure, but I think with the right strategy and right mentorship, you don't even need, for example, classroom kind of foundation course. If you have just the right mentorship and the answer evaluators, you take their opinion seriously, work upon it, analyze your weaknesses, then I think it is not really difficult to clear this exam.
It is easy for you to say, right? Because you have, qualified, right? But sometimes,
Yes, right.
they do require a lot of effort, right? See, obviously, it depends on
Yes, yes,
the
definitely.
brilliance of the candidate, right? You are in a different category, and I told you in the very beginning last year itself, right, that you are a very good candidate. Okay, that's very good, Rupal. Now, one last any observation that you would like to give on your own to the people, law, especially the law graduates, right? Because most of the people taking law optional is a law grad. This year, there was one candidate. I must have referred to you also. He qualified prelims every time. He qualified this year, 700 something rank. He's a non-law graduate, right? He's an engineer, right? So this is again two candidates we have which have not a law background, but most of them are obviously from law background. So any last message, especially thinking in the mind of the people who are in fourth and fifth year, right? Because that is the time when they start to think about UPSC.
I think start early. It is good to start early. Especially you can start with basic newspapers. Newspapers are very important throughout the journey. So I think inculcating that habit early on is definitely going to help. I did that in my law school. When I was in fifth year, I started diligently reading the newspaper. Of course, I did not study the syllabus books, etc., which I started only after quitting my job. But yes, a newspaper is a must. And secondly, I think you should look at the toppers videos and kind of get a hang of what all goes into the preparation, because it is very important for you to understand why you want to do this, why you want to give this exam. So you should question yourself, introspect, and see if you are really serious and sincere about serving the in the bureaucracy, and then only take a decision to give this examination. Because like I said, 100% you have to 100% effort should go into this examination. Otherwise you will definitely not make it. So make up your mind, and the right kind of efforts and right kind of mentorship, like I said, goes a long way in making you a civil servant.
Okay, now, so this question there also they have asked you, right? And I have also asked you in the interview, right? Why do you want to go for civil services, right? So the now the correct answer, not the interview one. Actually, why did you wanted to go for? I mean, you had a very well-paying job, more than 2-3 lakh rupees salary, right? Still, you will get almost half of that in the service, right? So why do you wanted to go?
Sir, I
Frankly.
think it had a lot to do with where I come from. So I come from an aspirational district, and I've seen a lot of issues around me, underdevelopment, and generally how women are treated. A lot of casteism also exists where I come from. So I always had this urge to to be able to do something about it, and I always used to complain. But then my father once told me nothing is gonna change by you just complaining. So try and do something about it. And then someone told me, you are a very bright student, you should challenge yourself, you should write the civil services examination. So that's how I came to know about the examination in my school days. And I thought, yes, and in my back of my head I decided, yes, this is the exam I want to give, because I used to think very highly of myself. But this examination has a way of humbling you. It humbles you a lot.
Totally.
So the kind of journey that I've had, like 3 attempts and finally securing this rank, I think it has humbled me a lot. Now I think in a more balanced way. So I think this journey itself has been very very kind of developing my personality.
Okay, Rupert. Now, anything
Yes.
else you want to ask? Like I always ask. Guess
Nothing, sir. I just I have a lot to be thankful for, and especially for your support. And I mean, I've reached out to you multiple times seeking different contacts, and you've always helped me out with it. So I think I really appreciate your support, and I think
Oh,
Anjali also deserves a mention. She has
yeah.
always been very, like prompt with her responses as well.
Responsible thing.
So yeah, I will personally thank her as well. But just something I wanted to say. It was really, really good experience with De facto.
No, 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 that is something, and we will have a good association, don't worry.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot,
Really,
sir.
really,
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy. Okay, thank you.